screencast talks about how to handle many-to-many relationships in entity relationship diagrams. Now, many-to-many relationships actually can be represented on entity relationship diagrams, but they need to be resolved. So it's a couple of step process. So I've given an example of student and unit as my two entities, and I'm going to draw a relationship diagram between these. Now, each student, how we work out the relationships, each student can be enrolled in 0, 1 or many units. Okay, so let's change that to 0 or many. And each unit can have 1 or many students. Okay, so you can see that we have a many-to-many relationship here. Now, when we have a many-to-many relationship, this can cause quite a few problems. For example, if we want to store the grade that a student gets for a unit, which entity do we put this in? We can't put it in the student entity because it doesn't have any information about the unit. If I make a new one and put a new attribute and put grade there, then how do we know what grade, what unit that grade belongs to? So that's no good. In the same way, if I put grade here under unit, then again we don't know what student that belongs to because each unit is only going to have one grade put up against it. And this is one of the problems that happens when you have these many-to-many relationships. So in an entity relationship diagram, when you have a many-to-many relationship, you need to make a new associative entity. Okay, so we need to create a new entity always when we have a many-to-many relationship. And the new entity is something that relates these two. So student and unit, what relates those two? Well, unit enrollment relates student and unit. So let's call this unit enrollment as our entity. We'll leave the keys and things alone for the moment. But one thing that we know that is going to be in here is grade, because this is somewhere where we can, for each unit enrollment, there will be a grade. And for each unit enrollment, there'll also be a student ID and there'll also be a unit code. So what this says is that, you know, this particular student enrolled in this particular unit is going to get this particular grade. Now, both of these are primary keys. Now, how can that work, you might ask? Well, primary keys can be composite keys, so you can have more than one attribute making up a primary key. So when we have one of these, we can handle it this way and have our primary key of our new associative entity as the primary key of the two other entities. Or we could, if we wanted to, I'm just going to manage these fields for a moment. I could add in another one, call this one the primary key and call it unit enrollment ID. And so if I did that, then that would allow me to remove these two as primary keys. But either way, you either have both of these joined together as a primary key, or you have a new primary key that you make up that uniquely identifies each of these. So now we can remove this relationship and we're going to change it around. So each student can have 0, 1 or many unit enrollments. So we've got to change this to 0 to many. And each unit enrolment has to be one and only one student. In the same way, join this one up, each unit can have one or many unit enrolments. So let's change that one or many. And each unit enrolment can only be about one unit. So you can see how this one comes from was attached to that, and this one was attached to that. So what we've done is converted it, and now we have two one-to-many relationships instead of a many-to-many relationship. I'm recording this because this is a concept that quite a lot of people have trouble with. Hopefully if you're not understanding it the first time, you'll have a chance to actually have a look at this recording again and really get this straight, because you'll need this in your data management unit as well.